Hello, everyone. I'm An Win, one of your hosts for the Class 9 Accessibility and Inclusion module. I'm joined by Dee Patterson, Mary Beth Neal, and Anthony Miller. I'm going to give you a quick rundown of how this week is going to go, and then the video will end and you'll be right on your way. First of all, we do have a pre-quiz we'd like you to take. It is not a link on my page, but you will see a link for the pre-quiz on the Canvas page when the course goes up. Next, we have some learning objectives that I'm going to say out loud so that you guys can understand what our goals are for you this week. First, we are going to be checking you guys against these learning objectives. We ask that you are able to define universal designing for learning in an online context, that you can apply facets of universal design and learning in your blog posts. You can define inclusion in online contexts. You can identify the intersection of UDL and inclusion in online contexts. You can create online content that is both accessible and inclusive. And finally, you are able to identify how inaccessibility and exclusion limits learning in online contexts. Of course, all this can always apply to face-to-face course design, and we encourage you to always think about what is best for your situation and what you want to get out of this online learning course, which of course could always be a face-to-face context. We have we have three activities for you guys split in between 2 pages. First, I'll go over the classic reading and discussion page. We'll have you read, annotate on your own time, and then discuss 2 readings. The first is going to be applying universal design for learning in online courses, pedagogical and practical considerations. This has a rundown of the principles of universal design for learning, focused on the online context, and near the end provides some, but not many, technical aspects to applying accessibility features to an online course. And it does this by providing a Word and some other online course considerations. But we actually move technical considerations to your blog integration, which I'll talk about in a second. The second reading is going to be Collaborative Teaching and Learning, Overcoming the Digital Divide. This is a article in a mildly older journal, but it's teaching still for today, and we think they are important for you guys to take a look at in considering how the digital divide excludes students of color, of disability, or any other exclusion you can think of. This kind of reading would also apply to face-to-face, but in our case, we are focusing on the online context. We have a whole bevy of discussion questions for you guys to take a look at, including, they'll be on the blog page, but to read out a couple, we want you to consider that many disabilities are not physical. How would you consider a learning disability or a communication disability or a communication-based disability in your discussion? We want you to keep in mind that something that came up a lot in our conversations was the idea of a social contract and a class charter. How is this course's the how has this course's specific social charter made it so that you feel more present and more in place in this course? How did it open up accessibility by creating this sort of shared social charter that we all adhere to? We want you to consider how digital divide may exclude learners in certain populations, and we want to ask you, how would you bridge a digital divide in an online learning community you are part of or you would be creating? And then finally, an important question to consider is, what barriers are preventing you from bridging aspects of the digital divide? What are some things that you, as a person, as an individual in your place in life, what can you not do to bridge the digital divide? What are the barriers you face and how can you overcome them? Or how can you advocate for students or advocate politically for change? And then as part of the activities, we are including a Flipgrid. We do not have a link on this page right now, but we are asking that for this week's Flipgrid, if you are comfortable doing so, and we want to encourage everyone to do this, but only if you feel comfortable to do so, that you talk about a time you felt excluded and how that affected your learning in a course or training program. If you don't feel comfortable sharing something personal like that, please feel free to reflect on the learning in your own way. At the bottom of the discussion page, we provided further resources, and our personal favorite one is Accessibility, the Future, and why Domino's is currently the single most important legal battleground for internet accessibility. Next, I'm going to scroll back up. We have a blog page integration for you guys. As always, you'll be using your blog to do this, but we have two activities to choose from. First, by the end of class 9, you publish a new blog post discussing accessibility and inclusion within your online learning community. Or, by the end of class 9, you go back to one of your posts and apply the 6 core skills from the UMN accessibility page. Again, we do have additional resources for you as part of this activity, and you can find them at the bottom of the blog integration page. Finally, at the very end of this all, we do have a post-assessment survey link, and we would greatly appreciate if you took the time to fill it out on your way out of the module. Thank you so much, everyone. Always feel free to contact us with any questions, any technical questions concerning accessibility on your blog post, a website, or even any other learning platform that you want to run or manage. Please feel free to reach out, and we will do our best to provide you with the best information that we can find. Have a good day.